Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. In our third chapter, we already discussed related to the electrochemical cells. We also saw the Nernst equation and the different numericals based on it. As a second part of this chapter, we are having it as an conductance in the electrolytic solutions. Now, when we are talking about the conductors, they can be conducted by two different ways. One is by the help of electrons, by the help of ions. The electricity can be conducted by the help of electrons if we are having it as a metals, by the help of the ions if we are having it as a solutions. We are studying actually chemistry, so we are going to study in a detail of it, but a partial factor for it. Also we will see it, what is the difference between these two conductors. Now for that case, first of all, if I just in a brief format, if I say that what are the metals? Metals, they are having it as a valence electron in their outermost orbit. These electrons can move from one orbit to the another orbit, and because of it they can conduct electricity. So here when we are talking about the conductors, one which allows the electricity to pass through them, and if we take it as an example of the metals, then the total amount of the conductance in the solution, in the metals or in the solid states, it depends upon nature of metal. It depends upon the nature of the metal, or you can say that it also depends on structure of metal. It also depends upon the structure of metal. The third factor, that is, it depends on number of valence electrons present in it. It depends upon the number of valence electrons present in it. And the fourth factor, that is, it depends on temperature. Particularly for the metals, if temperature increases, then the total amount of the conductivity also decreases over here. With increase in the temperature, the conductivity decreases. While if I want to go for the other factor, then in that case, what we can say that when we are talking about the solution, the first factor, it depends on nature of electrolyte. That is, you can say that it's a solute, whether it can produce more number of ions or not. If the compound is an electrolyte with a more number of ions produced by it, then the conductivity will be more. If number of ions produced by it are less, then the conductivity of the solution will be less. Right? So it depends upon the nature of electrolyte. The second factor, it depends on nature of solvent and its viscosity. That means if your solvent, it's a thick enough, viscosity is more, bonding is more strong enough, the force of attraction is more between the molecules, then the amount of the ions to flow through it decreases. As a result, conductivity will change. If the fluidity is more, that means the viscosity of the component is less. Or you can take it as an example of water. If the conductivity is less, electron can flow very easily through it. Right? So because of it, the ions, it depends upon the viscosity of it. The third factor, that is concentration. concentration of electrolyte. If the concentration of the electrolyte in the solution is more, then what will happen? That means the concentration of the ions are more, and if the concentration of ions are more, the conductivity will increase. So it depends upon the concentration of the component also. Fourth factor, that is size of ions. If the size of the ions are small, mass will be less, they can flow very easily. If the size of the ions are bigger enough, then the mass increases. As a result, the fluidity or the tendency to flow through the solution decreases. So size of the ion is the another factor. And the last factor, it's again temperature. But in the case of the solutions, here what will happen? Temperature increases, hence number of ions also increases, therefore conductance increases in the solution, right? So this can be a first question for you. Write a difference between the conductance by the help of electrons or by the help of ions, or conductance in the metallic conductance and conductance through electrolytic solution. What is the difference between these two? Now, this was a first factor that we understood, that when it is a metal and when it is a solution. Now, going in the detail, when we are having it as a solutions or the metals, what are the certain terms, small basic terms? First of all, we'll understand them and then we'll try to understand in the detail of it, right? So basic terms means what? We know that whenever the conductivity is taking place in the solution, it's going to take place through certain factors. Now in that case, some factors may oppose, like we told that viscosity is more, resistance is more. So what is resistance or what is conductance? So we are just going through some such basic terms. The first one, that we'll take it as, let's take it the first term as resistance. Resistance. What is resistance? The factor which does not allow the flow of electrons or ions. The component which opposes the fluidity of the electrons or ions, that is, resist the conductivity, then they are known as resistance. So resistance, it's indicated as rho R, symbol, it's indicated as R. It depends upon length, directly proportional to the length and inversely proportional to the area of cross section. So its symbol is written out as R is proportional to L by A. R means resistance, L means length and area of cross section, right? A means area of cross section. Now if I remove the proportionality sign, we will get it as proportion constant it's known as resistivity. That means for proportionality constant, for certain length and certain area of cross section, when resistance is calculated, it's having it as a constant known as resistivity. If L is taken as 1 centimeter and A, that is area of cross section, is taken as 1 centimeter square, then we get R equals to rho. At that time, this value is considered as specific resistivity. For it, the word is used as specific resistivity, right? For the resistance, the unit is written as, unit is indicated as ohm. That means it is calculated on the basis of ohms. At the same time, L and A, we are calculating. L means centimeter, A means we are getting centimeter square. So if I want to calculate the unit of rho, we get it as ohm centimeter inverse. Sorry, we get it as ohm centimeter for it. For the rho, we get it as ohm centimeter as the unit, right? So for the resistance, the unit is ohm. For the resistivity, unit is ohm centimeter, or you can also get it as ohm meter. It can be taken it as ohm centimeter or ohm meter. So that is related to the resistivity. So this is going to be one of the important formula for us to calculate the numericals. Numericals can be based on these formulas, right? Okay, now this was the first term, that is resistance, and we got it as resistivity or specific resistivity. Now the second term that we want to go through, that is conductance. Conductivity. Now what is the meaning of the conductivity? Actually, conductance of the given compound, we will take it as conductance. Conductance, it's a inverse of actually when we talk about the resistance, what we told, the factor which do not allow the component to flow or electricity to flow, it oppose. What is conductance? Which allows it. So they are inverse to one another. Resistance stops, conductance allow to flow. So they are inverse to each other. So we can say that resistance and conductance are inverse of each other. So from this, can I write it as G is equals to 1 by R? G is equals to 1 by rho A by L, right? Because we know that when we are taking it as an R, that is equals to rho L by A. So if we substitute it, we get it as G is equals to 1 by rho A by L. But at the same time, this 1 by rho, it's indicated as, this is written as K, that is kappa, conductivity, the one which I just erased, conductivity, right? So what is the unit of G? It's a ohm inverse. See, generally when we take it as an R we consider it as an ohm, right? It's written as ohm inverse, or it can also written as mho. It's a one and the same thing, writing ohm inverse or mho. Whereas for K, the unit, we get it as mho centimeter inverse, or we write it as ohm inverse centimeter inverse. But at the same time, this is also termed as Siemens, which is written as S, centimeter inverse. Siemens centimeter inverse. So K can be indicated as Siemens centimeter inverse, or mho, that is particular mho centimeter inverse for the unit of K, right? Again, this is going to be the formula that we are going to use it in the numericals. Okay, the third factor that we are going to get it, that is cell constant. The third factor we want to calculate is for any given cell constant, which is given out as G star. Now G star is generally written as L by A. G star is written as L by A. Okay, now particularly for the conductance, we wrote it as 1 by rho A by L. Can I say that this is K, this is 1 by G star, because G star equals to L by A. So A by L is 1 by G star. So from this we can get it as G into G star. This is the one of the most important formula that is there for our numericals. We will be coming across later on, right? So this is the cell constant that is been there. Now, while doing all these things, we want to calculate it, we want to measure that values, we are doing it. Theoretically it's not possible, so what we will be doing it is, certain experiments will be done. Particularly when we are talking about the experiments that to be done, the resistance or conductance in the solution, in the metals, for metals, it's measured by using Wheatstone bridge. Wheatstone bridge is one of the instrument which is used to measure the conductance or resistance in the given metal. Particularly when we are talking about the Wheatstone bridge, there is an instrument which is used and batteries are connected to it. If we are writing it as an R1, R2, R3, R4 and batteries are connected to it, then to find out the conductance through these solutions, we get it as formula as R1 by R2 is equals to R3 by R4. R1 by R2 is equals to R3 by R4. So if any one of it, the resistance is not given to us, these are all resistance that are used as in the instruments. If the value of 1 is not known to us, we can calculate by the help of the rest of the 3. So particularly this formula is being used, but specifically we do it, this whole factor is there for your physics. You will be also having an experiment to be done for the Wheatstone bridge in the physics, right? For chemistry we are doing the solutions, so we don't have specifically for that. But in place of that, when we are talking about the solutions, then for the solutions we are having it as a special type of an instruments that are being created, which are containing an electrodes that are being placed in it, through which the conductivity can be measured. The solution for which, this is solution for which we want to calculate it. These are the electrodes. Where these are being, the special type of solutions are being used to calculate or to measure the conductivity of the solutions. But while using this type of solutions, we will be having it as an electrolytes. The electrolytes that are used. In the solutions, the electrolytes that are used to measure the conductance or resistance in the solutions are of two types. One we term it as strong electrolyte, and the another one is a weak electrolyte. We are having it as in two types of electrolytes, strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes. Now what is the meaning of the strong electrolyte? The substance which gets completely dissociate in solvent. then they are known as strong electrolyte. For example, HCl, NaOH, NaCl, KCl, these are all strong electrolytes. Particularly strong acid, strong base and all water soluble salts are considered to be as a strong electrolytes. Again, strong acid, strong base and all water soluble salts are considered to be as a strong electrolytes. Weak electrolytes. Which does not get the substance which does not get completely dissociated in the solution. They establish equilibrium in the solution. For example, it does not get completely dissociated in the solution. Certain quantity of it has been dissociated. So those are considered to be as a weak electrolytes. Okay. Okay. Now this was all basics that we studied it. Right? Now why we want to study this? The reason was when we are given out any given solutions and we want to find out what is the conductivity of that solutions, then it's necessary that we should know the type of electrode, nature of electrode, number of ions in the electrode. But still, knowing all these things, it's not necessary that every time we will get the complete conductivity known or calculated for it. Right? So certain bases are required. Certain calculations are required. If I want to calculate the total amount of the ions that are being produced in the solutions, that means for the weak electrolyte how much ionization has taken place, what is the ionization constant of it, dissociation constant of it, right, equilibrium constant for it, all these things when we want to calculate it, then we will have to study a law which is known as Colruy's law. Right? We will take it in our next lecture, as well as we will study the whole detail of the Colruy's law or applications of the Colruy's law, or why the conductance in the solution is there as one of the important for us in chemical this chapter, chemical electrolytic for the electrolytic solutions. Right? Let's do it in our next lecture. Thank you.